So, I might have grown a little bit obsessed with Vaddjian. But then again, what's new? Anyways, welcome back to Plant Coast to Vaddjian. I did say in a comment in the last video, like, I have recorded a bit too much of Vaddjian and now my PC is just full of recordings of Vaddjian, so I couldn't record Tianopolis, and my brain just completely forgot that. And like, I got the last video out, was removing some of the recordings so I had enough space to record Tianopolis again, and my brain just went, nah, let's go back to Vaddjian. So my PC is again full of Vaddjian. So yeah, this series is in here for the long run. Also, just a quick checkup on the secret project and the dark ride. I know I said the secret project is going to come out, I think 2 weeks ago, but with what's going on in real life and everything, it basically got onto the, I think you can say it like the back burner. So I can only really work on it when I am done with the recordings for Tianopolis, or nowadays Vaddjian, and Vaddjian. So it's basically whenever I have time free, I will try to get back into those dark rides, but for now it's just like when I have the time I will try to upload a video for that, but recently I didn't have the time for that. But anyway, enough of my rumbling and everything. Let's get back into Vaddjian. And today we're basically building an arcade for some shops, because, well, this is going to be like the hub area of the park, so it needs to be a bit filled with shops and all the necessities. So yeah, and this, I think you call it arcade, is basically where most of the shops will be. Or actually there's going to be 3, the rest is going to be just spread around this hub area. And yeah, there's not really much to say about the arcade, except that it was really annoying to build, because I just started building round things, or rounded, and yeah, my brain got it in its head to make this place round. That, looking back on it, it did work, breaking up that this place is basically a square. And so it did work. However, I still think it's annoying, and by now I still haven't finished the roof. Because, yeah, most of the buildings are just facades, fronts. Let's just keep it at that. The only thing that's actually fully built is the corner shop that I actually did remember to put on Steam. So it is available. It is just under 4k pieces. The rest of the buildings are, because they are only fronts, a lot less. So anyways, there was something else I wanted to really talk about. There were multiple things, but my brain today just doesn't work. Again, nothing new. So what did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, I did get a comment on just Vaddjian saying that the building, well, the building materials, like the bit of like sandstone-y building materials, wouldn't really be realistic. That in this environment it would probably be a bit darker, but I will try to, in one of the parts of the park, get that worked into why the the sandstone is so light, but also basing it off the source material. Yeah, the main, well, reference is basically like this. So since it's really like, I really want the reference to World War II to be really in there, I will not change the buildings. So I will try to make a way to make it a bit realistic, like where this sandstone came from, because it's obviously not really, well, natural for this place to create that. But then again, as I said, I think in the last 2 videos, magic. I will try to make an Ashura gate. I might want to give you a bit more context on that. An Ashura gate is basically, yeah, a portal. Highly tech portal created by the Ashura, which are basically small rat/bat-like people. They are small and they are highly annoying because they are literal geniuses, and they don't refrain from saying that 10 times in one sentence. Yeah, I've never played an Ashura because I just can't relate to that. I think I said in this video that my brain doesn't work or that I'm crazy 2 times now, so yeah. I am what Ashura would call a buka. Or I think that is just a saying for an idiot, dumb person. I think the Ashura call everything a buka, especially the Norn. And that hurts me because the Norn are my favorite race. Though they are idiots in Guild Wars 2. They're basically wandering alcoholics trying to smash everything. And not smash as in the how can I say this without smashers in the violent version. Yeah. They will use brute force for most of things. And then get a massive celebration going where half of the party passes out from too much alcohol. Now I can kind of see why I like them. But for the Norn, who are basically like 9-foot giants, and yes, I did look that up to make sure that they were like, were they like 9 foot or 10 foot? No, 9 foot. Those are giants. And still, the buildings in Guild Wars 2 would be too big for them. Like, yeah. Again, for the weenie, it will be huge. I am looking forward to that, but also kind of scared because it's going to be huge, so that's going to be a lot of work. But then again, as I said in the beginning, I have been basically throwing all my free time into Vabbian, so maybe before this video comes out I might have already started on it, but then nah, probably not. I hope not, at least. But to give you a bit more insight into like why Vaddjian. Well, it's really close to Vabbi in the name. And I basically just thought like, alright, let's change up a few letters and let's add some few letters, and then yeah. I don't want to make the reference really obscure, I want it to be really easy to see. And I also know like, yeah, these buildings, again, not big enough for Guild Wars 2, but yeah, it's just really drawn on references of the color palettes and basically building style, but then just in a Planco scale. So in a way it does work, in a way it doesn't, but I love it. I also quickly want to elaborate on why this park, despite being in this like Arctic setting, has this very lush and tropical foliage, which I just thought like, as you might have already seen, the foliage is really just around these like almost steam pits. And my well, how I envisioned this is that the steam basically warmed up this place, and through the use of like ingenuity and basically also a lot of magic, they could make it that this place would support palm trees and everything that these people will probably know from their homeland. Well, Vabbi doesn't really have any snowy areas. Again, it's a really tropical, well, the main drawing point from Vabbi is really this almost Arabian place, so they wouldn't really have snowy mountains and such. So the thought behind Vaddjian is really that it's really actually very far off from Vabbi, but still inhabited by, I think you call it Vabbians, or the Vabbian people, something along those lines. And that, of course, they wanted to have a place that still had some, like, references to where they came from. I think everyone can relate to that. And so the plant life that, or the plants that they just wanted to have there, so they, saw this place with these steam pits, which was probably a lot warmer than all of the surroundings, and they built their village and just their entire life surrounding these steam pits. And I might want to throw in some like ley magic or ley line magic to further support that. Ley lines, I think, even outside of Guild Wars 2, like they are just channels of pure magic. And well, in Guild Wars they can be quite volatile, but if harnessed in the right way, they are really just almost an endless source of magic. So again, that's a real big answer to everything in this park. Magic. It's funny, in Tianopolis I try to avoid magic unless it's like in the coaster with the gods, but here in Vaddjian it's basically almost everywhere. But then magic is kind of cornerstone of Guild Wars, so here it is suitable. And I just want to build crazy things like floating palaces. Yeah, that is in Guild Wars 2. There's an entire floating palace. Guess what holds it up? Magic or some other weird thing? Guild Wars is really beautiful, but sometimes you're like, how? Why? Why do you want a floating palace? Now I might want to make a floating palace in Planko, but how would the peeps get there? Or that would be the weenie. I am getting ideas while doing this voiceover. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think my brain needs any more ammunition to making this place as crazy as it can. Yeah. But I have 6 parts of this park where I can implement that. Again, I'm not going to say why especially 6 parts, but anyone who plays Guild Wars immediately knows what I am getting at that, or getting with that, or something. My brain is just totally still on Floating Palace. That thing would be huge, but because it's floating in the air, it will probably look a lot smaller because of perspective and everything. So I really should stop giving my brain ammunition against me. I also quickly want to say, like, why do I call Vabbian a tropical place? Because, as I said before, it's really more this Arabian place, and it's a bit more, well, you would guess that it's a bit more like deserty, and it is, but it also isn't. Like, when I think of desert, I really think of the Kornar region, which is south of Vabbi, and Vabbi has a bit more lush plant life and everything. Even when it's not near the river. So yeah, that's why I call it a tropical place, because I really don't have any word besides Vabbi. And Vabbi doesn't really say much. So yeah, that's why I call Vabbi tropical. Also, you might be wondering why I built floating trees earlier on in the video. And they are not a reference, they are just straight ripped out of Guild Wars 2. And they are called, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Severin trees. And they are the favorite tree of this person that's connected to the 6 parts of the park. So yeah, you might have already guessed it's kind of a religious thing. And besides all of that, there is this story surrounding these trees that I really wanted to tell because I think it's adorable. But if like a leaf or a petal of this tree fell on you, then it would signify that you were like blessed by this person that's connected to the trees. And that's just really adorable. So of course I added the effect that there would be like petals or leaves falling out of this tree constantly. A bit too much because that would be a lot of blessings, but yeah, that's just a really cute and adorable story that players would normally not really get into, but is still in the game. So I really like that. It's still sad to say that in Guild Wars 2 Vabbi is kind of fucked, but in Guild Wars 1 it was beautiful and it was really dangerous also, but still beautiful. With these little stories surrounding things that you would normally not think about, because Guild Wars, magic explains everything. But then there's this cute story. So yeah, I guess that's what I really like about Guild Wars. These stories, and now most of the characters really have a personality. However, I still don't like what they did with the Norn. Yeah, I'm not going to let that go. Norn are basically drunk giants now with more muscle than brains. To be honest, they were like that in the first game, but to a lesser extent, like they still had a little bit more of a brain. So far we have talked about floating trees, floating palaces and steam pits with magic. So yeah, that will be all for today. Hope you liked the video. If you do, don't forget to subscribe, and hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!